Hi, grade three. I hope you guys are all having an awesome day so far, and I hope you have a great week. Okay, so we are starting our new unit in math. So we're done with our addition and subtraction. You're still gonna find addition and subtraction questions on your assignments, though, because we have to keep practicing that. Okay, but we are going to move on to our multiplication. So I'm just grabbing my marker. We talked about it a little bit during carpet time. So in grade three, you need to know your times tables up until 5 times 5. So, and I know some of you have been practicing and you already know them up to 9 times 9, which is fantastic. And some of you are just beginning. So we're all at different spots, and that's how God made us, and that's where we're going to go from. Okay. So, what do I want to say about multiplication? You recall we did it during carpet time. Make sure you're practicing it every day because you need to have it memorized. So when I say 2 times 2, you have to know it's 4, or 3 times 5, you have to know it's 15, like bam, like that. Okay. So it's just like our fast facts. So in grade three, we memorize up till 5 times 5. And then grade four, you'll go a little bit further, in grade five and all that. Okay. Until you're all the way up until the biggest number times the biggest number that you can think of. Okay, so but today we're starting small. So we're going to review our ones times tables and our two times tables and then we'll revisit the 3 times tables, okay? Because that one is new for some of you. But 1 and 2, we were pretty quick with getting that one, okay? So got my whiteboard, and I'm going to see if I can get in the. It doesn't really matter if I'm in this shot or not, okay? Here we go. So if you remember, we kept talking about cookies and cakes and cupcakes on plates, right? So if we have our plate, if I have one plate and it has one cookie on it, that is one plate. And I know it's going to be all crooked and everything, and I'm really sorry about that. Okay, but it's just looking at an angle. Here, let me see if I can get that better. Okay, there we go. So one plate, right? One cookie, 1 times 1. How many cookies do we have altogether? Well, we have 1. So if we have one plate, so still one plate, and then we put 2 cookies on it, now we have one plate and 2 cookies on it. How many cookies do we have altogether? We have 2. So when you're reviewing your multiplication or you're memorizing your multiplication facts, you have to remember that this is your multiplication sign. Okay, it's very different. It's going to be a different answer if we have 1 plus 2. If we change that, that changes everything because now we're adding our plate and our cookie together, and that would be a totally different answer. Okay, so that would be 3. So we want 1 plate with 2 cookies on it, and that's going to get us to 2 cookies, right? All right, so then we have 1 plate with 3 cookies on it. So 1 plate with 3 cookies on it equals 3. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward for the times table. So if I was going to guess, if I saw this pattern, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3. If I was going to guess as to what 1 times 4 is, well, what would you guess 1 times 4 is? So I want you, if you don't know it yet, I want you to pause this, if you can pause it. Pause it and try and figure out what 1 times 4 would be. And then we're going to go on and we're going to solve it, okay? All right, so you pause it. And I'll flip my board. All right, and you figured it out and you've gotten the answer. Here we go. So 1 times 1 was 1. 1 times 2 was 2. 1 times 3 was 3. And my question to you was, can you continue that pattern? And what would 1 times 4 be? Well, it would be 1 plate with 4 cookies on it. If I have 1 plate with 4 cookies on it, how many cookies do I have to get all together? I have 4. Okay. And if I was going to predict what was coming next for my 1 times table, if 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 4 is 4. If I was going to predict 1 times 5, what would I predict? I continue my pattern, my increasing pattern. I keep increasing by 1. So I've got 1 times 5 is 5. And that's your 1 times table. Okay. Now we're going to, and of course I did not bring up an eraser. So I'm going to grab my kid's sock. Hang on. Okay, I have a sock. It's an old sock, don't judge. All right, I just whack myself in the head with the board. So far, so good for this lesson, eh? All right, so 2 times tables. Now, 2 times tables goes a little bit faster because we've already practiced skip counting by 2s. So you can guess that your 2 times tables is going to be skip counting by 2s. All right, so before we had 1 plate. And now, if we're doing 2 times tables, now how many plates are we going to have? Shout it out. That's right. See, I heard you all the way over here. That's right. Now we're going to have 2 plates. So I'm going to have my 2 plates, and I have 1 cookie on each plate. Looks like a set of eyeballs here. So, and then my equation would be 2 plates times 1 cookie on each plate. So how many cookies do I have altogether? I've got 2. I'm going to stick with, because it's my 2 times tables, I'm going to stick with 2 plates all the way down, okay? But the amount of cookies is going to get bigger. So I have 2 plates with, now we're going to put 2 cookies on each plate. So if I have 2, now I count all my cookies. So I have 2 plates. I have 2 cookies on each plate. How many cookies do I have altogether? 2, 4. I know from skip counting that my answer is going to be 4. Okay. All right. Remember, it's the 2 times table, so we stick with our 2 plates. I have 2 plates, and now on each plate, I'm going to have 3 cookies. So 2 plates times 3 cookies. I'm going to skip count by, well, I guess I could do 2s, but and by 3 is really, so 3 and 6. Okay, so 3, 6. You've done your 3 times tables as well. 2 times 3 is 6. And look at my pattern, my answers 2, 4, 6. So each time my answer is increasing by 2. So if I look at that increasing pattern, okay, and I have 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. If I want to know the answer to 2 times 4, could I predict that answer? And yes, you could, as long as you know your 2 times tables, and all of you do. So all of you can predict that answer, okay? So if you don't know that answer, then you're going to hit pause and you're going to solve 2 times 4, and then come back and see what the answer is, okay? And if you do know it, then just keep listening. All right, so if I have 2 plates, and on each plate, hang on, we're running out of space here. Each plate, I put 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 and 4. Remember, it's a double. 4 and 4 is, you got it, 8. So 2 times 4 is 8. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. If I continue that pattern, and I've got to erase my board for my 1 times tables. If I'm going to continue that pattern, what would you predict 2 times 5 is going to be? So if I have 2 times 5, what would the answer to that be? So we go back and we look at our patterns. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. What would 2 times 5 be? Well, if we solve it using our pictures, I've got 2 plates, and each plate has 5 cookies on it. 5 and 5 is 10. Okay, so as we start getting bigger numbers, multiplication, what multiplication is, it's adding things over and over again. It's a quick way of adding. Remember, our goal in math to take as many steps as humanly possible to solve an equation or to solve a math question? No. Remember, what's that word begins with an E? E, and then there comes an F, You got it. You remember it's efficient. We want to be efficient in math. It doesn't mean fast. Efficient means the smallest amount of steps that you can take. Okay, that's why we count by tens instead of counting by ones, because it's less steps. Multiplication is less steps than the adding. Usually, I mean, 2 times 5, you just change that, and it's 2 plus 5 is 10. But when you get onto your higher numbers, say 9 times 9, well, we don't want to have 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9, but we don't want to have 9 nines to figure out our answer. We want to just know 9 times 9 beep, is 81. Okay. All right. So now we're going to hit your, what comes next? Your 3 times tables. So we had your 1 times tables, and we had your 2 times tables. And then we're going to do your 3 times tables today, okay? All right, let's see. So same thing as before, okay? 3 times 1. So if we have 1, 2, 3 plates with 1 cookie on each plate, I could say 1 plus 1 plus 1, okay? But is that the most efficient way of solving it? No, multiplication is more efficient because it's less steps. So 3 times 1, how many cookies do I have altogether? It's 3, not 3,000. Okay, I see how that looks. So 3 times 1 is 3, okay? All right, then if we go to 3 times 2, so we still have our 3 plates here, 1, 2, 3. And how many cookies are on each plate this time? Oh, get the plates in the picture here. All right, so how many cookies? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So 2 plus 2 plus 2. I could add it 3 times. I could say 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. Or I could go 2, 4, 6. But is that the most efficient? Nope. But is memorizing 3 times 2 efficient? Yeah, it's very efficient. Okay, 3 times 2 is, so 2, 4, 6. 3 times 2 is 6. And right now, I know our goal in math is not to memorize stuff, but I guess to solve things your way. But for the multiplication facts and your fast facts for addition and subtraction, it really is a good idea to memorize it so you have it like that. So when you hit junior high and high school, then you have all that knowledge stored away in your head. You can get it like this, and then you can learn all the fancy high school stuff. Okay. All right. So 3 times 3. If I have 3 plates, 1, 2, 3. I don't know if you can see. There we go. And I've got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I can say 3 plus 3 plus 3. Or I can just say 3 times 3 is 3, 6, 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. And now we're going to, so if you were going to predict, so if 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. If you were going to predict 3 times 4, that's what I want you to do right now, is I want you to hit pause, and I want you to predict what is 3 times 4. Okay, so you got to solve that one yourself, and then unpause and see if you got the answer right, and I'm sure you will, right? All right, so great, you've solved it, you're back. Okay, so we had 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. And I asked you on a piece of paper or your whiteboard or whatever to solve 3 times 4. So 3 times 4 would be 1, 2, 3 plates with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. What? What did I do wrong? That's right. I was still solving 3 times 3. All right. So I could say 4 plus 4 plus 4, or I could just say, I could memorize my times tables and know that 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, so our number, our repeating pattern, our answer is growing by how many each time? That's right, it's growing by 3. 3, 6, 9, 12. So if you were going to predict 3 times 5, so I want you to hit pause again, and I want you to solve for 3 times 5. I want you to predict what that answer is going to be. and then unpause and come back and see what the answer is. Okay. All right. And you're back. You've solved it and you're back. So we had our answers so far were 3, 6, 9, and 12. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. Then we have 3 times 4. Can you see that? 3 times 4 is 12. And now we want to do 3 times 5. We want to predict what that's going to be. So I like to draw out my 3 plates. And on each plate, I'm going to have 5 cookies. And let's see, that's a lot of cookies. Let's see what 3 times 5 is going to be. So 3 times 5, I could say 5 plus 5 plus 5, or I could skip count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, or I could memorize my multiplication facts and I could just know it that fast. And 3 times 5 is 15. Okay. So those are the ones I want you to practice right now. So memorize them. So what you're going to do is you're going to write them down and you're going to practice them, or you're going to make yourself some flashcards, and maybe sister or brother can hold it up for you, and it'll say 1 times 1 and you'll have to say 1, or it'll say 3 times 5 and you'll have to know that it's 15. Okay. So if you don't know it automatically right now, that's fine. It'll take a little bit of time. For some of you, this is the first time you're playing around with multiplication. Okay. So remember, to solve multiplication is repeated addition. So if you forget one of them, so if I want to solve 3 times 4 and all of a sudden I forget what it is, well, I know 3 times 3 is 9. I just have to add one more set of 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, add one more, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 3 times 4 is 12 because it's repeated addition. Okay, and then when we do division, it's the opposite. Division is going to be repeated subtraction. So it's pretty neat. Okay, all right, so you're going to do this. You're going to memorize your times tables. You're going to write down your times tables. You're going to practice them. You're going to make some flashcards, and that's what you're going to be doing for right now. Okay, this video is getting kind of long, so I'll make another one for your other times tables that you're going to practice. Okay, all right. Now let's get our off button here. Here we go.